his name.
George Floyd!
Say his name.
George Floyd!
And we must not give up. We must support the frontline folks that have been here. We need to do everything we can to retake back this place for George Floyd, for all families, and the future of our nation, making sure that this place is a place that people are already coming to. There are people buying tickets right now just to come right here. Right here. And they care about some traffic coming through here. But you know what? They checked. They checked. Now it's time to check back. It's time for the people to check back and say, enough is enough. No more. This is our space. This is the George Floyd Memorial Site. This will be the George Floyd Memorial Site. Today, tomorrow, and in the future. And with that I say, every single day, we must demand justice by any means.
Thank you, Jelani. Thank you. Next up, we're gonna have.
Hey, my name is Coach Drew. We have a baseball camp Saturday at 10 a.m. at Phelps to all the kids that their parents that want to bring baseball camp. It's called Streets, Striving to Reach Educational Excellence Through Sports. So if anybody wants to come out and hang out, we're going to be at Phelps. We're going to be barbecuing, and we're going to have baseball going on, training. It's going to be at 10 o'clock in the morning, Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. So really quick, we're gonna have people speak. We're gonna have them line up. We got people in the queue. So just 1 second. We're gonna get to you. We're gonna get to you, brother. I see you. The one thing that the city has done in regards to this space has broken promises. When somebody does dirt on day 1, you don't look surprised when they do dirt on day 30. The city has made promises for this neighborhood. Your city council has made promises for this neighborhood. Your mayor has made promises for this neighborhood. The chief of police has made promises for this neighborhood. The people have made demands, and as far as I know, not all of the demands have been met. When we look at this neighborhood and we say we want to see black owned, I go back to my father's hometown, which is called Detroit. And in Detroit, you see black owned on damn near everything. They want you to know. And the one time I saw black owned or minority owned printed on businesses in this city was when the uprising happened. No white-owned businesses said, hey, my business is white-owned, because that would mark them to be burned down. Do you see what I'm saying? They didn't want to say they were white-owned because they didn't want to be marked to be burned down. So they put up Black Lives Matter signs that were then taken down about 3 months later. Let me tell you something. When somebody shows themselves on day 1, don't be surprised when they show themselves on day 30. So when this city shows who they are, believe it. Believe it. And go back as far as June 14th, 1920 in Duluth, 101 years ago. They lynched 3 young black men to an all-white crowd. You talk about generational trauma, I talk about generational violence. I focus on those black men that were hung, but I also focus on the thousands of white people that stood in the picture smiling. Those white people are grandparents and great-grandparents to people that live in Duluth now. The trauma lives with us. The violence is still with them. That's not an accusation, that's just a demand to get it right. You know better, now do better. A year later, May 30th, 1921, they said a black man had assaulted a white woman. She said she didn't want to bring any charges. However, when the newspaper reported it, narrative is powerful, an all-white mob came outside of the Tulsa courthouse. They then went to Black Wall Street, burned it to the ground, and killed every black, breathing, or living human being that they saw. 107-year-old Viola Fletcher, a Tulsa massacre survivor, testified just a week ago, saying that y'all need to atone for this. You need to speak to this. She's still going through the trauma. The white folks in Tulsa are still profiting from the violence. When we talk about a legacy of trauma and violence, we're talking about right now. The money in your pocket comes from your great-grandfather's racism or some legacy of white supremacy. It's coming from there. And now it's time to do something about it. Because in 1919, it was called the Red Summer, when white mobs went around and killed every black person they could find. So when people tell black folks to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, you look them in the eye and say, we tried. But then you burned the bootstraps and killed everybody wearing them. So when Mayor Fry makes promises, he better come through. And some of y'all don't believe that he will. I don't trust him. That's just the way I feel. I want to. Justice is living in a city where you can trust your elected officials. Justice is living in a city where you can trust your mayor. Justice is living in a city where brothers don't have to do time in prison for shit that they never did. Justice is living in a city where George Floyd is still drawing breath. Justice is living in a city where Kim Potter understands her racism, cognitive dissonance, and the difference between her damn Black 22 and a taser. Justice is living in a city where Dante White is still alive. Justice is living in a city where Terrence Franklin is still alive. Justice is living in a city where the governor doesn't show up for black lives when the street is paved with black blood. Justice is living in a city with bills, as DJ says, are written with trust and promise, not with black blood. You shouldn't be showing up when black men get laid out in the streets by state-sanctioned violence. You should be showing up anyway. And now the test is on. Are we going to come out here, regardless of the barricades being out? Are we going to come out here, regardless whether they say it's open or closed? I don't need the state to tell me if Derek Chauvin's guilty or not. I know that pig is guilty. I don't need to wait for the verdict. I know what it is. I vote with my consciousness. You don't need to tell me if these streets are open or closed. You hold the space, you speak with your body. You don't need to tell me if these businesses are black owned or not. I need to walk in and see somebody owning these black buildings. Until I see that on paper, I don't trust it. I need to see the results, and then I'll trust it. We need to see it and then trust it. Because you're gonna live in a city that is running on broken promises. Living in a city where city council is kicking the can down the road. Living in a city that is trying to maintain white supremacy and genocide. They discovered the remains of 215 children outside of an indigenous residential school. And Canada owned up to it. But the issue is that it was back in the 1940s and 1950s that they had murdered all these indigenous children. And they kept it a secret for damn near 70 years. They kept it away from you. Because they know that when you know the truth, you will show up for justice. They know that when you know the truth, you will demand justice. They know that when you know the truth, you will demand to have their power stripped away. And now, for the first time, they're publicly addressing it, and they're actually talking about it. And it shouldn't take finding the remains of 215 children to start speaking to the narrative. Just as it shouldn't take black men getting shot down in the streets, black people getting shot down in the streets, for them to start talking about it. The state protects its power by hiding the narrative. I'll say that again. The state protects its power by hiding the narrative from you. The state protects its power by hiding the narrative from you. The less you know, the better off they are. You know the information. You see what's going down on Hennepin Lagoon. They want to cover that up. Why are they protecting an entire block? When they killed Terrence Franklin, they cut down half the block because they knew that we wouldn't show up. It wasn't on tape. But now we know. We know how they move. We know how they do. We know better. And now we're going to start doing it. We need to hold them accountable. We need to hold this space. And we need to hold their feet to the flames. because that's what needs to happen for accountability to start growing and expanding in this city. Say his name!
First of all, I want to start off by saying I love y'all. I love each and every one of y'all. And I'd rather y'all be here today than to not show up at all. I don't care if you was here yesterday or the week before that. The fact that you're here today shows that you care. And you remind us that we matter. We've been out here day in and day out, repeatedly dealt with trauma that we have not had the privilege to actually digest yet. And yet we still find time to hold one another and embrace one another and find time to say that I love you or that I care. At the end of the day, is if we show up, we have a voice. If we don't show up, we're silenced, and that's exactly what they want from us. What do they say? We ain't got nothing to lose but our chains. And we didn't put them chains on us. We didn't ask for them chains to be put on us. There's something I say to people often. I can set a picture up here right now that has 3 white men holding 3 black men sitting on their knees while they are dressed in their Sunday's best with chains wrapped around their necks. And I can guarantee you, the one thing that will not change if I was to flip that script and put the black men in their shoes is the fact that the men that are sitting on their knees still sit with their head held high and their chest poked out, because you cannot kill us. You cannot remove our minds from us. And unless we let them program us into a way that we don't want to be, we will not fail. You do or you don't. There's no in between. Either you stand up and come out here, or you work behind the scenes. It don't matter where you come from. We got somebody that drove all the way from Arkansas today. They woke up this morning and seen something on their Facebook and was like, hell no, I'm coming. And if I gotta sleep in the middle of them streets, I'm gonna do that. And I respect that. And if you gotta go home to tend to your family, I respect that too. Because at the end of the day, our youth is our future. And it's our responsibility to teach them. We have to teach them right, because one day they will lead us. We have youth that stand up and hold rallies, 15, 16 years old, and speaking their whole heart and saying it from their chest. And yet we have people that say that they're afraid to come to 38th in Chicago because they don't know what to expect. But guess what? Every single time a black man steps foot out of his house, he don't know what to expect either. And you hold him accountable because of the skin tone that he came out of the womb with. The whole point of this is for us to have all lives matter. And we keep saying until a black life matters, all lives cannot matter. They often say that the most disrespected woman is a black woman. Misogynoir, that's real. Don't let nobody underestimate what anybody else has to say. We can't take everybody out here for face value, and that's a fact. But our word is our bond. So if you come out here and you speak that shit, you better stand on it. Because if not, we gonna stand on you. We will hold you accountable. It's not fair that the police can come out here and hold us accountable to laws that they don't even have to be held accountable for. Who are you to come out here and tell us that we are doing wrong, yet you say you mistakenly did something because you didn't know no better? What? You cannot pull up on somebody and say, hey, if you don't know the law, guess what? You're going to jail. But if the police don't know the law, guess what? He gets to walk with probation or a slap on the wrist. And qualified immunity. They're doing it in multiple other states right now. Why is it that we've been the ones standing out here for 300 plus odd days and yet we haven't been able to end qualified immunity? Why is it that our police department still stands the same? If you're here for us and you want to work with us, then you need to learn how to embrace us. Come out here as individuals. You don't got to come out here in your uniform. We'll accept you, we'll embrace you, because this is a place of love, as King likes to say. We're going to be here for you. You need a shoulder to cry on? We got one. You can't speak today? Somebody going to stand up and speak on behalf of you. You need a hug? Say that. COVID be damned. Just saying. At the end of the day, it's either we stand up or we go home. Those barricades that they removed today drew a wedge between us and our black men. And I refuse to discard them, regardless if we feel they did wrong or not. I love you. I love you. I love you. We cannot discard our people. We don't get no more of them, just like we don't get no more land. We are owned by the white man. We got a social security number so they can track us. It's hard to be out here and mask your pain. It's hard to be out here and not be able to express your emotions because you got to be strong for somebody else. But I also got to go home to the 5 beautiful young ladies that I'm raising and tell them that they matter and that I'm going to come home.
Yeah.
All I can say is either show up and stand 10 toes down, come correct, or don't come at all. To my black men, I want to tell y'all, it's a learned behavior. It's a learned behavior. You have emotions and it is okay to express them. It is okay to cry. It is okay to yell at the top of your lungs when shit ain't right. You ain't gotta hold it in. You ain't gotta express it by anger. I said this once before today. Until we start holding the hands that the guns are in, only then will we stop counting bullets in our walls. Only then will we stop seeing bullets fly through our children's heads because they're shooting aimlessly. Our black men, our black people have been traumatized to a point that they don't even know how to articulate themselves anymore. I'm at a loss for words sometimes when it comes to my people. But at the end of the day, I don't care what color your face is that showed up. You showed up because a black life mattered to you. So I thank you for that. Continue to stay loyal to a black life because we need something. And if we didn't, we'll be damned if we don't. We will stand our own ground because that's what we've done all our lives. They call us savages. No, it's living in a survival instinct mode at all times. When do we get a chance to breathe and say, okay, I'm gonna wake up today and I'm gonna feel good just because I can? You walk out the door and you're gonna look over your shoulder, and I'll be damned if I gotta keep looking over the shoulder of my children as well. Stand up. A fist held together, that's a hell of a lot harder to break them fingers off versus us raising our hand and asking a question. You gonna hear us. We're not here to demand respect. We stood our ground and we showed you nothing but love and hospitality and ask that y'all love us in return. Don't let them divide us. Again, like I said, those barricades drew wedges between us and our black men. I'm not gonna let that happen. I'm gonna continue to embrace every single person that comes through here because we have to lead by example. We have to. Everybody's looking for leadership. Everybody's looking for guidance. And unless somebody takes the initiative to step up and do, we're gonna continue to run in circles. We'll see how many more people have yet to come. We'll see how many more people fly in off these planes to come and hold space and stand in solidarity, not to just come here and take pictures. This is our pain. It's not for you to come here and parade it around like this is something oh so cool. The art mills that you see, yeah, they're amazing, but those are black lives that we lost tragically. Their life matters, your life matters. Take the initiative, stand up, speak up, and say it with your whole chest. I love you.
We love you too, man. And just to paint the picture, you have people on the north side mourning. You have people on Hennepin and Lagoon that are in mourning. We have us here that are in mourning. And the idea is that, the way Mel Reeves puts it, separately can't do much, but together can break it all down. Can break it all down. So having solidarity amongst all of us is extremely important. So keep that in mind. I also want to point out the amount of black boy joy I'm seeing Jay have right now by watching these planes. Jay, if you want to come over here and speak, give it up for Jay, y'all.
I am from Arkansas. I'm by way of Arkansas. I'm an alien. My man, we call it dark and soft. But if you can make it out the swamp, you can make it out there. If you made it out of Arkansas, you're a living lotus flower, because the lotus goes into the mud and out. But, wow. When you love like you've only been lonely, and that's alright with me. That's alright with me. Who you love like there's hope in your story, and that's alright with me. That's alright with me. Who you love like you always be somebody, and always, always near. Always now. Always near. There's something closer than a heartbeat. All I can say is I woke up. Every day I wake up, bless God. I'd be here if I didn't. But I woke up and I looked at the sky and I say my prayers, and I thank God for His daily bread, daily portion, but most of all I ask for strength for the day. And then normally I go back to bed and I go and I have a couple hours, and then I get up and I water my plants. Believe it or not, I got a lot of plants at home too. I water my plants, and then I come in and then I water more plants, and then, and then I go back home and I water plants. But nonetheless, this time Janelle called me and said, Jay, they're taking down the monument. I said, what you mean they take? She said, I said, well, what part are they at? You hear what I said? What part are they at? Okay. See, because I'm the engineer of it. I designed it so that if any time that they could have any question or understand about the engineering principles, I would address them accordingly. That's why I did it. That's why the exact measurements. The side you're sitting on is 8 foot. They're sitting on a 12 foot. They're 4, okay? These are all 24 feet away. The ordinance says we need 18. Okay, so we still got 6 feet. But the thing is, what happened was this, they made that over there, and then so they said, in order for us to put the barricades there to say that, we have to push this. But see, they just painted this. We planted this. I'm sorry, that ain't right?
That ain't right.
They painted that, and we planted this. This is all from the riots. From everything that you're sitting on, I took it from the riots. The dirt, everything, the blood, everything, with my dump truck. I have pictures, and last year, everybody said, what the hell are you doing? It was my Noah moment, But you know what? One day they said, oh, you can't. Another, I said, well, don't tell me what I can't do, because Elijah and I, we sat right there. We looked at the clouds, and I told him what was going to happen. And then by Father's Day, it was made. Okay? All right? And so the thing is it was during the time. Do you mind if can I get up here? Because I feel better up here. I feel better up here. My feet feel so much better right here. Okay? Because what happened was they thought we were crazy, But they were crazy. They must have been crazy, because what happened, they left us. One, the mayor called whoever, the National Guards or whatever, and then the council, we need security. They spent like $300 grand on security. Okay? And then they left us here, and they were still saying, oh, we don't even know if we can compress charges, and go ahead, destroy whatever you want. Because they would say, we're just going to arrest you, fine, or we'll get more property. But however, what we did is, I was here and I said, everybody, let's stand down at 8. And most of us stood down. And then everybody else got caught. True story. Okay? And then we showed the world what to do. We beautified, right? And we publicized, hey, come do a good thing. And then we unified. that allowed us to mobilize. And when the rest of the world saw us, they responded accordingly. Am I correct? Right. And see, that was a response of what we represent. See, we're not only the city where purple is from, Pence, but also world peace is from. This is where world peace began. Excuse me. This is where world peace began. You know how I know? Because last year I gave an interview between North Korea and South Korea. Same day. I thought it was the same person. I said, did you just go change your shoe? He said, no, I'm from North Korea. I said, what? No, I used to play basketball. Cat's out the bag, I played basketball. But I played in Korea. And so, again, you know, I said, well, shoot, this must be Martin Luther King's dream, right? We are blacks, whites, Jews, Muslims, Protestant, Catholics, all together in peace. Am I right? Amen? Amen. So we're living in the dream. We're not only living in the dream, but we're defending our right to the dream, right? And this is led by peace, okay? And so this morning at 5:08 or 5:09 when I got here, anyway, it takes me 45 minutes. I made it 25, okay, but I made it. And we got here and they were taking everything apart. And I asked them, I said, do you know what you're taking apart? And they said, no. And I said, this is repeat after me, National Historic Monument. National Historic Monument. Which goes in the middle of a National Historic District. Sound good? All we needed were components. So what the components would be was we would need to have a national incident. Did we have one in 2020? Okay, we got one. All right, let me see. Then we would need, ma'am, can I borrow one of these bricks? Can I? I'm sorry. No, listen. We need something from the riots. Okay? We need something from the riots. So this is a national historic artifact, right? Okay? That's part of a national historical monument, correct? Right? From the riots of 2020, correct? So all we'll need in order for that to do, see, I got my half done. I talk with my hands. I don't talk with this much. Y'all, I'm just today, but most time this is my sign language, you know? And so I have the application for the National Historic Monument process. Okay, and we have, out of 16 criteria, we have 16, but you only need one. All right? And so, the game is chess, not checkers. Okay, for all those who wanted to understand. Because basically, it's ironic though, but basically the city, you know, we spoke to them and we told them, you know, this is a national historic monument. This is the only thing that we have. And I asked them, I said, are you willing to trade 1 day's pay for 400 years of pain? I asked to them, everyone. You know, if you saw the live, you didn't understand what I was saying, I'm just translating. Because thank you for your patience. I was having a moment. I'm sensitive. I'm an artist. I'm sensitive about my shit. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And so, so I'm asking, do you know what this is? And again, they still going. And then they're taking all these things. But now the thing is this. 2 days ago, I got a river barge rope 100 feet out the Mississippi River, and I put it in my black truck, and I wrapped it around, and I put it by myself with my hands, and I brought the chains here by myself, and I locked them all up, and I wrapped it all the way around, okay, and I locked them all the way around, okay, and so the city got here at 3 o'clock, but they couldn't get the chains off and all that till 5 o'clock. but, you know, and because see, there were 10, they had to torch it. And then so I asked them, I said, you have 50 people to undo what one man has done by himself. 50. And then you know, and I said, this is what you're going to undo what one man has done for one other man for 400 years of suffering. I said, you're willing to do that? I said, I would believe you, and I will dismantle it myself if you bring your boss down here to me right now today, and I will break it down. So, and 15 minutes later, both of their bosses were there. Hold up, brother. Hold up. All right, but see, hold on, I'm sorry. Because see, you know what? Because see, in my pocket, I got an email from, I know I should go fast. If y'all want me to go fast, I'll keep this information to myself. Okay, so all right. So, because I got 2 speeds, and if you don't like this one, you definitely won't like the other one. Because I've been up since 4-something, and I've been fighting against the city. You know, it was my damn voice, this voice right here. This voice you hear right here. This is the one that they heard. And when I couldn't speak in the English language to get them, I spoke in the heavenly language. And they stopped. And because the last thing that I said to Janelle was this: arise, O Lord, and scatter mine enemies. I was here 7 minutes. And what happened? Did they stop? Yeah, can I get a witness? Did they stop? Did they stop? Yes, they did. They stopped. That's why all this is here. After 7 minutes, they stopped. Because see, one of the city workers, he came over to me. He was like, yeah, Brother Jay, man, for real though, because I was over there and I looked at my boss, and I looked over, and she was crying. And then she looked at, I was like, you all right? You all right, Julie? You all right? He was like, she said, pull everybody back. Put everybody back. Clear out the way. Clear out the way. And then, next thing you know, I'm talking around. Then they come around me. Sir, where do you want to put these boxes at? Sir, hold on. And I'm like, come on, sir. I said, okay, sir, we don't really want to move anything. We just need a little space. I said, well, you know what? You could have just spoke to me in advance. I engineered this. I built a garden that you've never had on Minneapolis ever. See, because most of the roundabouts go in. Mine's on top of the ground. See, I'll explain to you. It has a drain tile around here. It has Cat 5. It has moisture barrier around here. And it's on a sloped grade. So what goes on is this: as the moisture goes in, it gets captured. Anything else overflows. That's why on rainy days it looks like a pool of glass. If you all been here, it looks like a pool of glass. But see, everything else kept in. But then as the ground heats up, it acts like a pot, the ridges. And so what happens is it moisturizes from the ground up. But Minneapolis ain't got shit like this. Okay? And they want to get rid of it. You know? And it's on recycled plants. And you know how much it didn't cost them? 50 cents, because I got it back. It didn't cost them anything. And you want to get rid of it? And this is to represent all the murder and mayhem. See, what happened was this: they tried to do like their fourth. See, you learn like your daddy teach you. See, their daddy taught them to go by force, but they don't know my father is of wisdom. And our foundation of the king of every kingdom is wisdom. And you know what? And we have this fiery sword that is our tongue that could cut through the very sinew of every existence. Most people believe that I am here. No, but here is inside of who I am. This world, this every galaxy, everything that's ever created is inside of who I am. This is my remote control. This, I am you and you are me, and that's how life goes on. This is our power. Our power is I am, not that I was, not that I might be. His power is I am. I am. I am. I am a man.